Have you ever found yourself using a common phrase or expression like, take a gander, only to wonder where the heck it came from? Would you believe it came from the early 1900s in America, where it was used to describe a male goose's habit of stretching its neck to take a closer look at something? That sounds right. Or did it come from the famous French painter Charles Gander, who traveled around the world and displayed his stunning paintings of exotic places in galleries for people to admire called the Gander Galleries? Okay, it's actually the goose one, but the photographer story, way more fun. In each episode, I'll face off against a celebrity guest, taking turns trying to convince each other that our origin story is the real one. And sometimes it will be, but sometimes history calls for a tall tale. I'm Andrew Keenan Bolger, and this is That Sounds Right. OMG, I am so excited about my guest today, Miss Jackie Cox.
Hi.
Well, you may have seen her on RuPaul Drag Race Season 12, where she slayed the runway with her stunning looks, spot-on impersonations, and hysterical yet very touching stand-up routine. She's appeared on stage hosting countless events, and in the Queerties award-winning Drag the Musical. Online, you can find her doing incredible cosplay, hilarious videos, and extensive activist work. Please give a warm welcome to Jackie Cox.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi, sweet Jackie.
I am very excited to be here.
Oh my goodness. Jackie, you are one of those people. I feel like this is the best case scenario that so rarely happens when you fall in love with someone online. And like you and I, we had like followed each other on Instagram and would like write nice little comments to each other. And then you meet them in real life and they're somehow even more sweet and amazing in person.
Oh, that's very sweet of you. Yeah, well, because we became friends. I mean, season 12 aired in the height of the pandemic, like in the lockdown of all lockdowns. And so I made friends with you and a few other people just on the gram.
I mean, it's the
gramming it.
goods. I feel like, yeah, social media sometimes could be the death of our society, but in many ways, it means I get to be friends with Jackie Cox, y'all. So I think worth it.
And I get to be friends with you, Mr. Andrew Keenan Bolger.
Now, Jackie, since your run on Drag Race, you have showed us many different sides of your drag persona, from like soap opera diva on Dazed of Our Lives to like sci-fi geek. And you're, I think, just always surprising us with just creativity and versatility. So what is your secret? How do you keep your drag so fresh?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if my drag is fresh, but I keep my brain fresh just because I am trying, just like whatever idea pops into my head, before I like second guess myself, I just try it. So I think that's like I don't know, my drag is my drag. It's the 60s, it's kind of fun, and then or it's cosplay or whatever. But I think I like to just, if something comes into my head, I'm like, yeah, let's just try it at least once.
Yeah.
And if we hate it, we'll move on. I think I'm not good at like holding on to like, some people, like you meet them and they're like, I want to be the president of the United States. And that's like their goal from like the ages 5 till they go to Harvard or whatever. And that's like their whole life. I've never been like that. I've been kind of like wherever the wind, I won't say takes me, but like pushes me. So I think that's the secret is nothing. If you plan too much what you want your life exactly to look like, I feel like you're setting yourself up for disappointment. But if you're kind of just open to like, well, today I'm going to try this, then here we are.
Come on.
Your beautiful lounge with this clock.
Now, it should be known that we decorated the set before we knew that Jackie was coming. But y'all, I mean, we really nailed this.
Here.
Yeah.
I think this is my house.
The shoes match the coupes.
Wait.
Match the clock. Cheers, darling.
Cheers. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to pretend like I'm going to put it up my face. But instead, look at this. Classy. We have a metal straw so I don't mess up my lipstick.
Somehow even classier.
I know. Well, and these kind of champagne glasses we're supposed to have so that you can still see our face when we drink.
Is that right? I did not know that.
That is, I think that's a real truth, but
you know what?
We'll
That's
find
all
out.
about this show.
Ooh.
So on That Sounds Right, this show is all about storytelling and occasionally telling a lie.
Ooh.
Now, Jackie, have you ever been caught in a lie?
Oh my God. If people who say they've never lied are fully lying, that is not, we all have to like the little nice things we do. I am guilty of white lies. I will say I do try to smooth things over sometimes I mean, drag is a very dramatic industry. Um,
I'm not familiar.
what?
This is incredibly breaking news.
I mean, anyone who is in the performing arts has, a healthy ego, we'll say. And certainly drag queens wear that right on their sleeve. So, you're dealing with a lot of big personalities, and sometimes you just got to be a little bit diplomatic is the word I'll use. Diplomatic. So maybe someone's performance or someone's moment wasn't your favorite, but you wanna keep them feeling good about themselves. Like, why would I say something mean to someone? Because people do ask me my opinion all the time.
Yeah.
And I try to be honest, and if they're looking for constructive, I'm happy to give it. But if someone just like finished something that they're really proud of, I'm just gonna cheer them on, even if it wasn't my favorite thing.
Come on, that's I think great advice for the whole world.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point in being mean, especially if it doesn't serve anyone. And if you have to lie a little, that's what it's a victimless crime.
All right.
White collar lie.
A
Right?
white collar lie.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to put this lying to the test.
Mhm.
Let's go to the rules of the game. So each of us is going to have a card, and it's going to have a common idiom or a phrase written on it, along with its actual origin story. And we each get 5 minutes to review the actual origin story, make some notes, and then decide if we're going to be telling the real story or if we can do a little bit better than history and make one up.
Okay.
Either way, we have to convince each other that our story is the real one. So we're going to take a short break so we can get to thinking, and when we come back, we'll separate the fact from the funny. I'm not sure why I said separate like that.
It sounds like a separate. I wonder. Yeah. Well, now I have to know if that's a real word.
Yes, it is. It came from Woods people when they were draining the sap
That's
from
right.
the
You have
mighty
to
oaks.
separate the oak.
Got to separate the
Yeah.
maple
or the
from
maple if you're Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And we're back. I would just like to point out, Jackie did not need the full 5 minutes. Come like 3.5, I heard that cap click right onto that pen and just hands folded across.
Well, here's the thing. I don't want. I mean, the truth speaks for itself. I just took some notes, but
Okay.
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like I'm onto your
Let these
tricks.
Cameras, no.
Well, I'm going to kick things off and start out with the backstory of the common phrase, say cheese.
Say cheese.
Say cheese.
Do the kids still say that?
Yeah. You know what? Actually, yes. I have, I always get stopped on the street by tourists being like, take our photo. And
they're like, I loved you in Newsies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll think they're saying that, and they're like, no, can you take a picture of me? And I'm like, oh, I thought you wanted a picture with. No, it's fine. But I say cheese, and I feel like they know what I'm talking
You
about.
should walk around with a crutch. And they'll know. You'll be like, 10 years ago, this was my gig.
They're like, this is actually kind of sad.
Yeah, you imagine. I would
You're
love
almost
it.
40.
No, no one needs to know that we're almost 40.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. Now, Jackie, have you ever heard of the 1893 Chicago World's Fair?
I've heard of a few of them.
Yeah.
The one I always think about is the 1964 one, which was over in Queens.
Oh, yes. Gave us that beautiful thing that you passed on the way to LaGuardia.
Yeah, and It's a Small World.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's
my
from the
gosh.
1964 World's Fair.
Come on.
Yeah.
This is turning into a history podcast. Well, I will tell you, the 1893 Chicago World's Fair,
Right.
it put Chicago on the map.
Yeah, before it was just a flyover.
Yeah, before they were famous for their absolutely disgusting pizza. I'm sorry for any Chicago listeners, do not come for me. That is not pizza. That is
It's
a
like a
casserole.
pie. It's
Yeah,
like a
no,
pie.
it's not pizza.
But it's yummy.
Yeah, is it? Okay, moving on. Okay, so the World's Fair, it was really a chance for countries to gather and share all of the new inventions and innovations that they had been working on. It's like how, Apple does those huge product launches, but instead of debuting 2 more megapixels on the iPhone camera, they're like, oh, here's a zipper.
Yeah.
Bet you need that.
Yeah, a toilet.
Yeah, a toilet.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. How you like that, babe? Or
Yeah.
oh, you hate the dark. Don't worry. Here's a light bulb.
Whoa.
Yeah. So mind blown.
Hey, wait, I wish was that the ad for it?
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey, babe.
hate the dark. Here's a light bulb.
Sorry, it's that simple.
Are you tired of sitting in the dark? Well, haven't we got the invention?
Come on down to Chi-Town.
You.
And so it was also a chance for American brands to kind of debut onto the world stage.
Okay.
And one of the brands that debuted in the 1893 Chicago World's Fair was the cheese brand Sargento. See, I'm circling the
Oh.
drain here. Remember, say cheese? We're coming back. We're coming back.
Okay.
Okay, so the Sargentos, it was an Italian-American dairy farmer, husband and wife duo.
Wow.
And they came to the States and immediately realized, like, none of the cheeses that they love from back home are available. Like,
Yeah.
we're talking the, like, mozzarella, the, like, Parmesan. And with all these Italian-American immigrants coming to America every day, they're like, growth market much? So they were invited to the Chicago World's Fair.
Uh-huh.
And Claudia Sargento, the wife, she had also gained a real appreciation for the new invention, the Kodak camera, which she had
Right.
purchased. And she was like, look, if we're gonna be debuting, we need to make a bang. We got to capitalize on this moment. This is a huge moment for us as a cheese company. And so right next to their booth where they were like sampling the cheeses, she set up a photo booth, and she would have, when people would come and sample the cheeses, she would have them sit on a little stool. She would get out her camera and set it up. And right after they took a bite of the cheese, she would flash, take a picture of their reaction, which was inevitably like a huge smile.
Right.
Because, like, imagine you've only had like rubbery cheese curds your whole life, and then someone hands you like a salty hunk of Parmesan, and you're like, ah.
When you do the hand, I
Oh,
really believe it's an Italian
true.
cheese.
Yeah. Claudia Sargento.
Yeah, I
Um,
see her. I
You
see her.
It's so
I
clear.
see her in you.
And so she and her husband printed out all of these photos of real life customers,
Uh-huh.
and they would use them as advertisements in newspapers, on posters, billboards, with the simple 2 words written right below it. Can you guess what those 2 words were?
Say cheese.
Say cheese.
Say cheese.
Say cheese. And you know what? This got so popular
Yeah.
and so famous because not only had they like put this new technology photos and advertisement,
Uh-huh.
but it was using like actual testimonials of people. And this photo, it was like got milk. It became so ubiquitous that people would just, you see a photo and you think say cheese. It was
Right.
that like so in our
The
minds.
joy in their faces.
Yeah, and then it has the added benefit of like you say the word cheese and it just spreads your mouth into like a perfect frictionless smile. Say cheese. So
Say cheese.
that is the origin story of say cheese.
Interesting story.
Interesting, yeah.
Interesting story.
So now you get a chance. You can either ask me like a follow-up question or two, or you may already have your mind made up on whether or not that sounds right or that does not sound right.
I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you this.
Okay.
I think that does not sound right.
Okay.
And you had one fatal flaw in your story,
Go on.
which was this. Back in the 1890s,
Uh-huh.
it took a long time to take a photo. You couldn't just say cheese and get someone's quick reaction because photos took quite a bit of time to develop, my dear. You had to hold a pose, very still. That's why photos from that time period, people are very still and kind of sad looking because
Gotcha.
they all had RBF, resting bitch face. And because they had to sit very still, they couldn't like it'd be hard to like hold your mouth in a smile after eating a bite of cheese and capture that moment authentically. It would look like this. What I call the upside down Disney princess smile, which is when you go to Disneyland or Disney World and you see like a princess towards the end of her shift and she's still smiling, but she's really tired. So the smile, instead of the corners of her mouth going up, are now going like this. And let me tell you, Cinderella's at the end of her shift when she's smiling like this. So I think that was your fatal flaw. And
Yeah.
I don't think that sounds right.
Well, you would be correct. I definitely made that up. Would you like to hear the actual origin story?
Please tell me the real
All
origin
right.
story.
Well, I'll tell you. I read it through, and it sounded a little generic. I thought it needed a little sargento.
yeah, a little hand motion.
Which meanwhile, like, who knows who the sargentos are? They're like,
yeah,
we were invented in like the 90s, girl. Like, calm down.
yeah.
Okay. Here's the truth. With cameras taking hours, if not days, to take
Oh my
a photo.
God, was I right?
Okay, didn't read that first part. Yes. Days to take a photo in the 19th century. It was dignified not to smile in photos. Since it took so long, people were typically only taking 1 or 2 photos in their lifetime.
Yeah. Well, imagine if you only had 1 or 2 profile photos.
Oh
you
my
would. I
God.
think you personally would shrivel up and die.
If you would see the
You
number
love your
of
photos. You have a
I love my
you're a
photos,
good
but
photographer.
there are about like 200 that you don't see of
sure
my
for
face
each one.
of me thinking I look cute, and I'm like, okay, so it did. People would sometimes only take 1 or 2, and everyone was on their best behavior, which usually resulted in a somber expression.
Yeah.
But with the invention of the $1 Kodak camera, $1, I wonder what that actually costs now. That still seems pretty
In what
cheap.
year? Does it have the year?
It doesn't, no.
Because I think that would have been after the 1890s.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That's
Yeah,
where
yeah.
if you would have moved it up to like the 1910, or I would have maybe
I
believed
just didn't.
you.
I knew there actually was an 1893 Chicago World's Fair, and the rise of the Hollywood film industry, and more everyday moments were able to be captured and quicker. This led to photographers using the word cheese to have their subject form the ch sound and the e sound to form smiles in a natural way.
Cheese.
Cheese.
I love it.
Give me your best 19th century dignified. Only get
yeah,
2
portrait.
photos in your
Yeah,
entire life.
I think it's this.
Okay, ready? Stunning. All right. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll hit you up with Jackie's story.
That sounds right. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the origin of the common phrase dressed to the nines.
I mean, perfect. I thought perfect.
It is literally, it is, I think it's actually closer to 11 a.m., but in drag time, this is 5 a.m., and I am in full drag just for you, babe.
Yeah, so let it be noted to the viewers, it is like 10:30, and Jackie is looking completely fresh and gorgeous at a very early hour.
It's an early hour. I am dressed to the nines, and I'm explaining to you the origin of this story. Now,
Okay.
you've used it before. You see
Sure.
someone, you're like, oh my God, they look amazing. They're really dressed to the nines.
Dressed to the nines.
They're dressed to the nines. In Evita, although she's dressed up to the nines,
Yeah.
it's 6s and 7s with you. So I'm going to tell you the
Come on,
origin of the
Tim
story.
Rice. I think that's Tim Rice.
If you know a bit about, the 20th century, you know that World War I was
Mhm.
really changed the face of culture. So many men died in World War I. It was, although many more died in World War II, World War I is considered the bloodiest war because it was before they had bombs and things which kill people efficiently.
Yeah.
World War I, they were still like little bullets and bayonets and stuff, and like
Yeah,
it was
no
like in the
thanks.
trenches, and it wasn't like, not that nuclear bombs are great, but they're a little bit of a cleaner way to die. But this was very bloody post World War I. European society was changing, kind of similar to what happened after World War II, which is that the biggest change was what women could do in society. So if you remember, turn of the century, women still wore corsets and whatever. And after World War II, women got rid of the corsets.
Yeah.
They were able to cut their hair.
Oh, like flappers,
Like
right?
flappers, like all
Yeah.
these kinds of things started happening in that time period going into the 20s. And the other thing that changed is, it used to be that only in society, only
Mhm.
men were allowed to kind of exist past supper. So like the ladies would retire after supper, and the men would go on smoking or maybe go to some kind of burlesque show or something.
Yeah.
But in the 20s, women were finally able to actually accompany their male dates out in the evening past dinner. So they were able to stay up to 9 and
Uh-huh.
beyond. So,
Yeah, yeah,
dinner,
yeah.
supper, which is at 6 or 7.
Sure.
Now all of a sudden women were dressed as if they could be taken out on the town, dressed to the
Okay.
nines. And I think that's the thing that changes. Nines actually refers to the time, because before, a woman, a proper lady would be in her home with, putting her hair back in pins or whatever by 9 p.m. But starting in the 20s, women were able to be paraded about. And that was something, too, in the 1920s, we think of like Great Gatsby, this era of excess. Men, in addition to flaunting their wealth, would also flaunt their women. And so they would dress them up in beautiful outfits. Another additional fact is that it also could refer to a beautiful fox fur with 9 tails. So if a woman had that many tails, like she was well kept and dressed to the nines. So that is the origin of the phrase. And so we still use this today because when you look like you could stay up past 8 p.m., you're dressed to the nines.
I mean, if you are lying, I will be so impressed with you. Come on, history. It also should be noted, if you were telling the truth, there is not that much information on that. I refuse to believe that you were able to just completely make that up. So I'm going to go with that sounds right.
No.
Are you freaking serious? Jackie Cox.
Completely wrong.
Come on, Encyclopedia Brown.
It was none of that's true.
Wait, what?
It's not true.
You're an insane person. Go on.
So the real origin is so boring that I was like, you can't be making a drag queen talk about this. The real origin is that it comes from the uniforms of the 99th Regiment of Foot of 1824, which was like a very nicely dressed regiment, I guess. The first reference was in 1835. It's also potentially, this is a phrase. It doesn't seem to have like a super clear origin story. Was that it was tailors used 9 yards of material to make a suit, which also seems crazy to me. I think you need like 4 or 5 yards to make a suit. Maybe these suits had very long tails. So that's the real origin, according to this very real piece of paper. So I didn't like that.
Yeah, come on. Oh my God.
Military. Yeah, well, I did a little bit of military with you with my World War I. That's where I got
That was pretty good, yeah. You tripped me up with bayonets, where I was like, did they still use those? Who knows? Could be. Could be. But oh my gosh, that was highly impressive. Well, it's very clear that Jackie won this, but we do have a little extra treat, which is that we're going into sudden death in case there was a tie, which there most certainly is not. But we're still going to play it just because it's a little bit fun.
Let's do it.
So
you could have a chance to redeem yourself.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, maybe still time to catch up. For this round, our producer is going to read us an obscure and very strange law, and we each have a buzzer.
Ooh.
So now is your opportunity to grab the buzzer next to you.
Oh, good.
Each of them are programmed with iconic Jackie Cox sayings, if you want to press it into the mic.
Really?
Yeah.
Salamati boys.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
Yes. We've got a Salamati boys and we've got a...
Can't fit me in a box.
Wait, these are so cute. I love it.
Meanwhile, our producer, shout out to Danielle, was in here fully just dancing to both of your lip syncs.
Oh my gosh.
And just like coming up with all the possible versions that we could put in here. We'll do the full Jackie Cox dance afterwards. But so we're going to buzz in. If you think that this is either true or false, you press your buzzer with your iconic Jackie Cox saying, and you get to answer.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Let's start first with in Temperance, Mississippi, you cannot walk a lizard without dressing it in diapers.
Can't fit me in a box.
Andrew?
I feel like you started out with Mississippi, and I was like, it's just going to be true. But that is so random. I'm going to go with that doesn't sound right.
You're a winner.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got that one right.
Jackie is still, I think, ahead of me because she got the whole thing. Should we try and even this out with another one?
One more.
Okay.
I was gonna say that was true because don't lizards like poop everywhere?
Mississippi's like, we don't care.
Yeah.
You can walk that lizard anywhere.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Okay.
We're going to Florida. Women may be fined for falling asleep under a hairdryer, as can the salon owner.
Can I get...
Salamati boys.
Women can be fined for falling asleep under a hairdryer, as can the salon owner.
Yep.
I'm going to say this is true because it could be a fire hazard.
Jackie Cox, you're a winner.
Jackie, you fully crushed this game.
Ugh.
Oh.
Fire safety is important, kids.
Just Jackie coming through as the OSHA union rep on That Sounds Right.
Yeah. Speaking of Salamati.
Oh, Salamati!
Which means
honey.
cheers. And we just celebrated Persian New Year for all those who
Come
celebrate.
on.
It's the first day of spring.
Mm.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, delicious. Lovely
Unless
champagne.
this airs in summer, in which case we just celebrated Memorial Day.
Yes. Jackie, as the winner, I am so excited to give you, I will say, the greatest prize of your life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't win Drag Race, so you don't have much competition.
Talk about a consolation prize. You get to choose one of these greeting cards.
Ooh, I'm going to choose this one.
All right. What does it say?
It says, Feliz Pascua Florida, which means, it's a game.
What?
Divertirte mucho buscando estas palabras escondidas. Oh, it's a missing word game in Spanish.
Oh, come on.
Las palabras están escritas hacia adelante y hacia abajo. The words are written above and below.
Come on. I have no idea. Is
Oh, and it says,
Pascua?
ten un día lleno de lindas sorpresas. Have a day filled with beautiful surprises.
Come on. All right, I'm very, very, very impressed. That is all for our show today. Please remember to subscribe, and if you liked us, either write a review or tell your friends. This really helps y'all. And big, huge thanks to my guest, Jackie Cox. You can find her on socials at Jackie Cox NYC. And join us next week for another episode of That Sounds Right.
That does sound right.
That sounds right.
That sounds right.
That sounds very right.
That sounds right. This is the best prize.